What's going on, everybody? Thank you guys for joining, wherever you're joining from. I appreciate you guys. I know it's been a long time. I know you guys got some questions and whatnot. I did a big move. I moved across the country. So I was in Georgia, but now I'm in Colorado. So that's kind of why you guys haven't seen me. Not making any excuses or whatnot. But we got a good video for you guys today. Before we get into anything, I'm gonna kind of lay some ground rules for you guys. If you guys can't see me or can't hear or whatever it may be, or you can't read some of my slides or whatever, please let me know from wherever you're tuning in from, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, or even Twitter. Because my whole thing is basically what I'm trying to do is when I provide these type of videos to you guys, I want you guys to be as cool, as calm, collected, and basically where you can see everything that I'm doing or anything that I'm talking about and so forth. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a couple minutes, maybe go get your favorite bev, and then we're gonna get started. I got some topics that I'll tell you guys about. Derrick Henry is one of our discussions that we'll have. We're gonna also talk about some of the lists that's going around, whether it be Twitter, whether it be Facebook, or any social media platform. We're going to talk about some of those lists, and then we're going to basically get into some of the data that supports it, some of the data that doesn't support when it comes down to what Derrick Henry can be for the Baltimore Ravens and whatnot. A lot of people kind of freaking out because Bleacher Report released some stuff and said, hey, okay, look, we just don't think Derrick Henry could be X, Y, and Z. And for me, at the end of the day, I still say, look, we got to line up. We got to play the game of football. Our system is totally different than the Tennessee Titans system where he came from. And then even then, in a bad system, quote unquote, the only reason I say it's a bad system because their offensive line was not good. The system itself, if they had an offensive line that was above average, they could have still did some things. Even without it, Derrick Henry was second in total yardage from the running back position. So again, he was second in the league rushing. So he did what he did at 29 with a subpar offensive line. And I just think coming into what the Ravens has to offer him, I think it'll be a little bit better type of situation. But again, once we get to those particular slides, we'll talk about that. All right, so give me a few minutes. I'm gonna upload my slides, and then we're gonna talk about all this good stuff. All right, so let me see. Let me check the comments very quick. Just so you guys know, again, if you haven't already, make sure you follow my channel so we can keep these things rolling. Because as we get closer and closer to the football season, I want to basically bring you guys my input. I'm not one of those Ravens fans that, hey, look, we're going 17-0 or 18-0 or whatever it may be. Look, I know the Ravens have their flaws, and my job here on this channel is to try and talk through those as easy as I can and not have so much bias like some other fan bases do with their YouTube channels. So I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. If the Ravens are struggling with something, I'll basically talk about it and go from there. So, all right, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pull up these slides. All right, so again, I know there's a lot of things going on. So if you guys can't see this, please let me know that you can't see it. If you're here for the first time, please like, share, comment, subscribe, whatever it may be. If you want to tell me these videos suck, at least let me know. Let me know what we do, how am I doing. If I'm not doing as good, please let me know. Give me some pointers because again, I'm trying to make these videos the best possible videos we can possibly make. All right, so if you guys don't know, I call this channel the Ravens Sit Rep. And basically, I'm going to just give you a little sports recap of what the Ravens have been doing and some of the different topics and stuff like that. Any kind of big ticket items, I will be more than happy to address them. Like I know for a fact, one of the things about the OTAs, like people are freaking out about the OTAs with Lamar not being there. And that's cool. I understand some people want to freak out because he's not with the team. There's certain particular assets on the team that need him to be at OTAs, but then there's also the development with the relationship with the wide receivers. And we all know as Ravens fans, how many times did we watch them not be connected completely on the same page with the deep ball? So as long as he's working on his deep ball, trying to get that thing better, I'm cool with either one, whether he's at OTAs or is he not. Because OTAs, this part of it is a volunteer base. You know, you can come there and do what you got to do with your team, but you can also not come there and do what you do with some guys that you think you need some more continuity with. And that's just going to only make you guys better when it comes down to the passing threat or whatever it is that you're trying to work on. So, all right, let me check the comments, see if I got any kind of comments. All right. What up, Coach? How you doing? Hey, Coach, it's your first time popping in here. Hey, thanks. I appreciate the support, Coach. All right. And we go back. All right, so my slides, right? If you guys can't see this, please let me know. So I got a lot of different information on here, and with these particular slides and stuff, my thing is to basically bring you guys the data to say, hey, look, this supports that or this doesn't support that. And the whole thing about this, when somebody puts something out in the atmosphere and it's BS, look, I got to call it out. I'm sorry. I got to call it why I see it. And for me, when they say certain things, yeah, I got it. You know, running backs over the age of 30, they don't typically get the 1,000 yards. But look, let's be real. Every starting running back doesn't get the 1,000 yards. There's no guarantee. As you guys see some of the numbers, right? Just because you're a 24, 23-year-old doesn't mean that, hey, you're going to walk in and easily get 1,000 yards. You gotta kind of earn that. You gotta kind of make, hey, look, when I get the situation that I have, whether I go to Pittsburgh, whether I go to the Jets, or whether I go to the Commanders, whoever it may be, there's no guarantee because you have a top 10 line, because you have a bottom 10 line, or whatever it may be. You still got to go out and perform, right? You got to go out and perform. And when you go out and perform, now you kind of either, hey, you prove this to be true, or you would be when people do certain things like, hey, okay, he fell into this particular age group, so we got to automatically say, hey, okay, look, he's over 30 years old, and since 1970, only 7% of running backs over 30 have got over. Okay, cool. Awesome. What I do not like about it is the context when you put that out there. When you put that out there, of course, you can just gigantic hand wave and say, "Hey, look, he's over 30. He's not gonna get 1,000 yards or whatever it may be." Truth be told, the Ravens may not even need him to get to 1,000 yards. Being honest with you, because if the Ravens do it running back by committee, the guy can get 900, somebody else can get 600, somebody else can get another 500. Look, that may be enough to get the Ravens where they need to be. The biggest thing about it for me is not so much of the yardage, it's the touchdowns. If the Ravens can get those touchdowns up to where, hey, look, our running backs are accounting for 25, 30 touchdowns or something of that nature, I got it. It may seem a lot, but if we can get that and to where Lamar Jackson doesn't have to score our rushing touchdowns, I think we're cooking with Crisco. That's just me talking. I think that's a really, really good mix of having running back support to where Lamar Jackson doesn't have to get down there, typically in the goal line situation. And I know Gus Edwards took a lot of that last year. And all I want is, hey, Henry, Keaton Mitchell when he comes back, or either our young guy Rasheen Ali, or even our service guy Justice Hill. If either one of those guys can come together and say, hey, look, collectively, we get 20 to 25, maybe even upwards to 30. It doesn't matter, whatever it is. If we can get that type of execution from wherever we are on the field, I just think it'll spell good things for us when it comes down to in the playoffs. Because now, look, not only do you have that type of run game, but you can't turn around and say, okay, look, none of these guys has been ineffective when you got two guys with 10 plus touchdowns on your roster. And if they stay healthy, that's another reason why, hey, look, we can't abandon the run game come late January, early February. Okay, all right. So the title of this first slide is, hey, concerns with King Henry. I have no concerns with King Henry. The biggest concern I would ever have with King Henry is health. That's it. Because, again, we know if he guys play, he's going to be effective, right? He's going to be effective. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, the Ravens is not going to put him in a situation where, hey, he's going to run 35, 40 carries a game. It's just not going to happen, right? Looking at the metrics, right? the Ravens typically about 1,120 plays is what they typically been running the last couple of years with Lamar Jackson at the helm. So they slice that down the middle. Let's just say a good 500 attempts in the running game, right? If we can give Derrick Henry half of those, a little bit over half of those, and keep him as fresh as possible, again, that is a great recipe. That's a great recipe heading into late January, early February, because now we don't work our particular workhorse too far down the road to where, hey, he can't turn around and rely on some additional juice come the playoffs. All right. So on this slide, the two things I really want to highlight, right? I want to highlight the offensive line rankings for the Tennessee Titans and the offensive line rankings for the Ravens. That's one thing I want to highlight. Then the next thing I want to highlight is the personnel, because the difference is, right, when we talk about the guy not being effective and whatever it may be, we got to understand what kind of personnel the Titans are in, what kind of personnel the Ravens normally run, and so forth. And that stuff really, really matters, because if we just turn around and say, hey, look, oh, man, he washed up, he's over 30, he'll never get this, he'll never get this, he'll never get that, da. Well, we got to sit here and say, hey, wait a minute. Before we do that, we got to actually sit here and dissect some stuff before we start to talk crazy like that, right? Because we all know just last year, matter of fact, hold on, before we even say that, just last year, Raheem Mostert got over 1,000 yards last year. He was 31 years old, and he got like 1,036 yards rushing or something like that. So again, when it comes down to it, we can't automatically just put ourselves in a box and say, hey, look, this is what it is, and he'll never get there. Okay. So the 2023 Titans, 11 personnel, they 36% of the time, 36% of the 12 personnel, 34%, 13 personnel, which 4%. In any kind of other formation, whether it be shotgun or whether it be empty or whatever it may be, that's about 26%. The highlight for me is the fact that their O-line ranked 20. Currently how they're constructed. Look, I'm not sitting there trying to downplay anything the Titans were doing or what they failed to do. What it be shotgun, whether it be single back, whatever. Not single back, shotgun or empty or anything of that nature. It's 22% of the time. So, with that being said, obviously we see the difference of the particular teams. Now, this is what really, really takes me out of the way of, hey, look, I got concerns with Henry or whatnot, because in 2023, the Ravens were the fourth ranked offensive line group. Look, guys, we all know the guys we lost in free agency and whatever it may be. Some people are happy about it. Some people are rejoicing. Some people are basically saying, look, we still got concerns on the offensive line. And that rightfully so. You can have concerns about either one. Losing those people or gaining the young guys, you can have concerns about either one of them. Bottom line right now is the Ravens are ranked number 9 on the offensive line rankings, okay? Some people are thinking, hey, look, we don't know if these guys are going to really turn the corner. Three guys that I really, really want to pay attention to is Ben Cleveland, Andrew Voorhees, and then Roger Rosegarden. Those guys are going to really let me know, hey, okay, look, all right, when we come in, if these guys can come in and contribute, that spells a good message for Henry and everybody else in our particular pass or our run game, whichever one. Because Roger Rosengarten was just as good as pass coverage. Now, he's not going to get out and go be a road grader or nothing like that, but he can hold up at the point of attack to where, hey, it's effective enough to where we can get out those deep passes if we need to, or we can get to our second and third reads when we play against significant pass rushers. Okay. All right. So if anybody don't have any questions, I'm gonna continue to move on. I see you guys. If you guys are here again, like I said, hey, if you want to say what's up, that's fine. If you want to say, hey, look, you're doing a bad job or whatever it may be, please let me know. Again, my job is to try and make the best experience possible while you guys are here and not be just another typical YouTuber. All right. So the next one, this slide is basically this our schedule preview, right? And look, I'm not one of the ones that cry about the schedule or nothing like that. The only thing that I don't like about our schedule this year is the 3 games in 10 days. Is there's 3 other teams that's like this. I think it's the Texans, Chiefs, and Steelers. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure all 4 of those teams have this type of schedule where you play 3 games in a matter of 10 days. So from the 15th of December to the 25th, we all have 3 games in that span. If you look at our schedule, right, we start out with the Chiefs. Okay, look, that we know what that is, right? A lot of people want to kind of downplay it. Hey, look, these guys, it don't matter until we get to January or whatever it may be. Can we beat them in January or late February, whatever it may be, right? At the end of the day, I don't want to continue to lose to the same teams, right? That's part of one of the reasons why Pittsburgh kind of chaps my ass right now. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to give you guys a disclaimer. I do use profanity every now and again, but I'm not going to sit here and just drop F-bombs all night. So for me, I want this win. I want this win to get over the hump to hey, for the psyche of some of the guys that have been on those teams, a player like a Dr. Elway. Hey, look, I'm tired of losing to these guys. Like, he was the hero the one time we did beat them, right? So we could turn around and get another win to start the season off, right? That would be perfect. The next game, the Las Vegas Raiders, again, one of the teams up and coming. Antonio Pierce has those guys firing on all cylinders. They got some concerns, particularly in the quarterback that they got going on. I'm going to overlook here. We overlook a particular team, and we overlook a particular team. Now we're talking, hey, that's where the Ravens start to, hey, we need these games late in the season, and then we just don't have enough time to get a number 1 seed or probably division as early as we need to lock it up. So those AFC games early off like that, we definitely need to go in and win. If not both of them, we got to get one. A lot of people basically say, hey, look, this is the year they may dethrone the Eagles. A lot of people are basically riding high on them, despite them not doing much in free agency. So again, it's one of those teams that, hey, look, we can't just sit back and say, hey, look, because you're not a division favorite or whatever it may be, and we kind of overlook them. We got to come out. We got to play our game. Again, it's in a hostile environment. We do know before they closed down the Cowboys' last stadium, we had a good showing out there, but it's a totally different environment. So we got to come with our A game and basically say, look, all right, we ready to go. And this should be a good tune-up if we didn't have a good game already against the Chiefs. And then the next game would be the Bills. Again, this is one of those teams. Again, we were talking about the top 5 teams in the AFC. This is one of those teams. Whether you got them at 5, whether you got them as high as probably number 3 or even number 2. This is one of those teams that, hey, at some point we probably gonna have to go through them in the playoffs, right? Because if we talking about we meet the Chiefs early on in the playoffs, I can almost assure you the Bills would want to be one of those AFC teams along with the Bengals is who we got to go through if we were to meet the Chiefs early on. We can't turn around and focus all our efforts on the Chiefs and lose against somebody else beforehand. So next game is against the Bengals. Again, that team got a lot of things going on when it comes down to their trade rumors. Receivers want out. Defensive linemen want out. There's a lot of different things going on. They got a bunch of clouds over their head. Like, we don't know if T. Higgins is going to go. Is he going to stay? People is talking about, Justin Jefferson probably coming into the Bengals. There's a lot of different things. Again, I don't read into any of those type of things. I kind of just sit back, take it with a grain of salt. If somebody makes a YouTube video about it, I'll probably watch it or whatever it may be. But I'm not putting too many eggs in that basket until I start to see stuff really shake out. So again, it's one of our division rivals. Got to have that type of game. Can't lose that especially the first game of the division. We cannot afford to lose that particular one. Even though it's at the Bengals, look, we swept them last year, but last year is last year. We got to come back and continue to do what we need to do so we can progress on to try and get to the Super Bowl that we want. Next team will be the Washington Commanders. Again, a lot of Ravens fans, we like to call them little brother. But again, we cannot overlook what they have done in free agency, particularly on the coaching side. I do not want to downplay that because I'm telling you, Dan Quinn and his Cliff Kingsbury, those guys can get guys to play for them, regardless of them being the top 10 in their position or top 5 in their position. They, for some odd reason, they have a knack for getting stuff out of players they don't particularly see on paper. So those guys could potentially elevate themselves in a particular fashion to where, hey, look, even if it's just a 6-game stint, those 6 games, the Washington Commanders could be a tough out. So again, we just can't have them walk into M&T and say, hey, look, we're gonna go ahead and just take these guys to the woodshed like we normally do. I just don't believe in it. Again, we got to make sure that, hey, look, we beat the teams we're supposed to beat and don't lose to anybody we're not supposed to lose to. Again, I speak with objectivity. I don't see the Ravens going 17-0. If you want to call me a fair fan or a fake fan, please do it. It's okay. I can take criticism. It is what it is. I just want to be as real as I can. Okay. All right. Next team be the Buccaneers. Look, we know their defense is a little older, right? People want to try to say, oh, look, all right, we don't believe in Baker Mayfield. That's why they probably didn't give him a long-term deal or whatever it may be. Again, Baker Mayfield knows the Ravens, right? So the last thing we need for him to do is come out and have a really, really good game against the Ravens because, again, we know if we get behind in the turnover battle or we get behind in the third down markers or whatever it may be, that game starts to flip on his head. We don't want to be in those situations. Team asking for, hey, when we're in these type of games that, hey, we're favored by 7 or 8 points or whatever it may be, hey, look, we need to basically come out and get a significant win. Okay. All right, let me check the comments, make sure nobody ain't commenting. Okay, cool. All right, again, if you haven't already, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share it, whatever you want to be. Okay, if you want to share it on Twitter, someone say, hey, look at this crazy guy talking crazy about the Ravens. I can take criticism, whatever it may be. Okay. All right. Next game will be against the Browns. Again, we lost a game last year to them. We should have swept them. We lost a game to them. We shouldn't have lost to them. We had a significant situation. If we would have just took advantage of that particular situation, they would have never came back in that particular game. To the point to where some people were basically trying to crown their particular quarterback. I'm not going to mention his name. They were trying to crown him as like, hey, the Ravens killer. And I'm like, yeah, it died down pretty quick. But I'm just like, wow, really? One particular game, this is what you guys are trying to say? Okay, whatever. And I hear people saying, hey, he was Iron Man because he had an injury and he kind of fought through it and he kind of basically, hey, he did some stuff that the Ravens don't normally give up, so forth and so on. It is what it is, right? But the Browns will be without Nick Chubb. I don't care what anybody say, Browns fan or Ravens fan. That is huge. That's significant when it comes down to, hey, look, we can't rely on if we get a lead, we can kind of play conservative type of football to where, hey, we can basically say, look, all right, we can take our time, knock out an 8-minute drive and get a touchdown, not a field goal, a touchdown. If they can't do that, now we're talking, hey, look, we get into a late game situation and now that game becomes a shootout because, hey, I can't stop nobody or I can't protect my lead or whatever it may be. So if that's a particular case, I don't believe, hey, the Browns are going to be a tough out if they don't find some kind of way to get their run game. If they find some way to get their run game, their defense is going to keep them in plenty of games. Probably every game this year, the defense is going to keep them in it. It's just a matter about what it is the offense is going to do outside of the passing game. I expect their passing game to continue to make strides and do what they've been doing. It's the run game is what's going to really matter for me. All right, next game will be against the Denver Broncos. Again, this is one of those crazy, wacky games, right? This is the Indianapolis Colts type of game last year. Yeah, it was a monsoon or whatever it was that happened out there, but it's one of those games that, hey, I can almost assure you, some people probably walked into that game and said, oh, it's the Colts, man, whatever. this is that game. We got to make sure, okay, look, we come out and handle our business and do what we need to do, and it'll be over. And now we can turn around and say, okay, look, the game's over. We got this particular win. It's significant too, guys, because it's an AFC win. Remember, the divisions are different. The division titles are different. It's no longer, hey, who has the best division record? It also matters about your AFC opponents. So again, we got to make sure that, hey, look, wins like this, we can't let them sneak by. We got to make sure we get this particular type of W. Okay. All right. And then we go back. We play again against the Bengals. That'll be a Thursday night game. Again, we know we like to play on those Thursday night games, those games against the Bengals or whatever. But again, it's one of those situations like, hey, look, depending on what happened in the first game, it could be some hey, we want to try and get some get back or whatever it may be. We got to make sure we come out, treat them as the division rival as they are, and make sure we put boots to asses. That's what we're trying to do when it comes down to playing against anybody in our division. Okay. All right. Steelers, okay, I didn't have to say anything. We owe them, right? We owe them. We basically 1-7 in the last couple of years against these guys. Look, we should come out and we should be fired up, particularly for this particular game. Not just because of the record, because hey, they've been chirping the whole time since we know, hey, one of our particular guys that went over there, I'm not going to mention his name, or a couple of our guys went over there, not going to mention their name. They got 4 former Ravens over there, whether it be starters or whether it be secondary players. So they got 4 over there. And it doesn't matter what they did here in Baltimore. At the end of the day, they put on a different jersey. And look, we got to basically come out and look, there ain't no handshaking. Once we come in between the white, look, it's war. Just like just like Roquan said, it's war. When we give them between the lines, hey, I'll shake your hand and talk to you afterwards in the media or whatever it may be. But when we strapped up, I got my jersey on, you got your jersey on, and the whistle has blown, hey, it's all out. That's what it is, right? So after that, we have the Chargers, right? The Chargers is one of those teams that, hey, look, they kind of still need some pieces and whatnot. But again, I'm not going to overlook them because again, just like I was talking about with the Broncos, it's an AFC team. We need that particular win. We get that kind of win. Now we're talking, hey, you have 7, 8 wins in the AFC. That looks pretty good because again, you got to understand in our division, we don't have a cupcake division. We just don't. Ideally, we can look at our division and we can split every year as long as our teams in the AFC North are constructed the way they're constructed. We can split every year. Sometimes we can actually get swept in our division in the AFC North. We don't have that luxury of certain teams in the AFC East. Okay, we just don't. We don't. So we got to come out. We got to play ball. We got to kind of steal wins wherever we can steal them, especially in the conference. And Chargers will be another win that we need to particularly steal. All right, December 1st, game against the Eagles. The Eagles look. A lot of people crown the Eagles off-season paper draft, whatever it is, champion. They're basically some kind of pre-suffix champions. People love to do that. And I still say what I said when I first came in here. Every game has to be played. Until we play these games, I'm not giving nobody no respect until we play them. And when we play them, now we got to see how things line up. And even then, if we play our style of football, I'm still not garnering no respect. You won't get no respect until whoever hosts the Lombardi. That's it. That's how that works for me. I'm not giving you no respect. If I got to play against you, you got to earn your respect. You earn your respect after the game, sometime in February. That's the team that'll get my respect. Everybody else, look, you put your pants on just the same way I put my pants on. I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna give you my best shot. See if you can take it, and then we're gonna go from there. That's how I view things. Right. All right. Next team. I'm sorry. The next game will be the next week will be a bye. I particularly like the late in game bye. The reason why I like this is it's basically 2 seasons in one, right? So if we would have got a bye like week 8 or something like that, I just think that particular push towards the playoffs is too draining on the players, whether it be somebody that's dinged up or whatever it may be, somebody trying to come back off an injury, whatever it may be. I just think that bye too early like that has significant drop off in value having it so early. So having it around the 14th or the 13th week, I think that's pretty legit because now we're talking, hey, 3, maybe 4 games, and then now that we go into our playoff push. So again, I kind of love this particular bye week. All right, the game after that will be the Giants. We will play the Giants. Um, uh, Hold on, let me go back. My bad. All right. All right. So we'll come off our bye. We'll play the Giants. We go to their place again. Is one of those particular situations to where I don't like to overlook teams. I got it as one of those NFC teams, but guess what? Lamar is 20-1 against NFC East or NFC teams. Guess who the one loss is against? These bastards. So again, hey, look, I don't know about you guys, but that's inviting to me. I want to come in and get a dub off of them. I want to get a dub. That was another one of those games that hey, we were up late in the game. We couldn't convert certain third downs, and now we turn around, we lose that game because of hey, couldn't convert third downs, and we was getting field goals instead of touchdowns. So again, we can't overlook these type of teams. If these are the type of teams that we need to put in front of us, we need to beat them. We need to come out and win the game in a sound type of fashion. It's just being honest. Okay. All right. 4 days before Christmas, we get the Steelers. They come to our house. So again, it's one of those particular things. How we're shaping up in the AFC kind of depicts, hey, okay, look, is this a game that we need late in the season? Right? Is this a game we need late in the season? Who knows? Maybe we already locked up the 1 seed. Maybe we're in the wild card. Who knows? We have no idea. But this is where if you drop those games against the Broncos, you drop those games against the Chargers, and these guys are drop those particular type of games. Now we're talking, hey, I got to play super hard over this 10-day schedule. I got to really put boost the asses out of the bye, and I got to win these last 3 AFC games. So those last 3 AFC games could be pivotal about our seeding, right? It come down to it because who knows? The Texans may still be in it. The Texans out of it. The Browns may be lobbying for a playoff spot or may already have a playoff spot locked up. Just don't know. If that is the case, we got to make sure we come in and handle our business. Just being honest. So, all right. So, and then the last game, the Christmas game against the Texans. Okay, that should be streamed on Netflix. Hey, if you don't have it already, make sure you get your Netflix subscription updated. Because again, this game is going to be broadcasted live on Netflix. Okay, and then the last game of the season will be against the Browns, the Cleveland Browns. Again, we know what they are. By then, I'm expecting Nick Chubb to be back. We know they're going to probably be, again, if they're lobbying for a first in the division or a playoff spot, or they already have a playoff spot, we talked about it. We may get a different type of punch. So again, with that, we got to make sure that hey, look, we don't give them life if they don't already have it. Just bottom line, okay? All right. So our schedule again, 12-5, 13-4. I think those type of things are realistic. Even 11-6, because again, we don't know what the season looks like, right? We don't know. Hey, okay, look, if we have injuries, we don't know if somebody else is going to get injured. We don't know if the other team's going to come in injured. We just don't know these type of things. So I don't want to put too much in our basket. Hey, the Ravens are going 15-2. Or the Ravens are going 16-1. I just don't believe in that type of hype. Again, we got to play the games as they come to us, and then we'll go from there. All right. So, all right, no comments. Cool. All right. So now, this right here is near and dear to me because look, we always see these lists and stuff that come out, and people automatically either they agree with it. If they got their favorite player on there, people love it. If they don't got their favorite player or their favorite team on there, oh man, they hate us, man. Whatever it may be. I'm cool with whoever lists because they list or they list. Their lists aren't gospel, right? Because I can turn around and make a list that, hey, look, these are the top linebackers on third down. It'll be completely different than the just top overall linebackers, right? The other thing is the different type of criteria to rate certain players or certain groups or whatever it may be totally different. So please don't get your panties in a bunch about, hey, okay, look, man, they didn't put our guys on here, or these guys are not a lot of Raven players are not in there, so forth and so on. Like, don't get twisted up in any of that, because we all know prior to Roquan coming there, Patrick Queen was not rated super high individually as a linebacker. We know that, right? He had a decent season prior to. I'm not going to get into all the numbers or whatever it may be. He got over 100 tackles or whatever it may be and all that good stuff, right? But we knew once you got another alpha alongside of you, now we're talking, hey, look, he's only going to bring the best out of you. And that's no indictment against PQ. It's just the reality of it. It's no different if you were to take, hey, Roquan Smith and add him again with Fred Warner. Look, that would be scary. But I would tell you, I would only imagine both of those guys would probably increase in certain areas on the football field. And that just, it happens. It happens that way. That's not an indictment on Fred Warner, not an indictment on Roquan Smith. It's the nature of the beast. Or as we talk a little bit easier. Like that's what it is. Okay. All right. So the first one I want to talk about. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not crapping on PFF. If PFF is your thing, cool. That's and these are the ones that I've seen. So I PFF ones. And again, I'm not trying to crap on their particular platform or anything that they got going on. I just brought certain things to my attention. The linebacker core, again, you can look at it and you can dissect it however you want to dissect it and say, look, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that, whatever it may be. This right here is totally off topic or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, this is their list. This is their list, right? So San Francisco, again, probably clear-cut favorite. People are going to probably, continue to ride the San Fran type of train. And rightfully so. They have a good unit. They have a good coaching. They have some good players. Probably have one of the better linebackers. Again, I personally think Roquan Smith is the best linebacker in the league, but some people may think Fred Warner is the best linebacker in the league, and that's fine, perfectly fine. It's no issue there, right? Next group will be the New Orleans Saints. The addition of Willie Gay is huge, right? The addition of Willie Gay along with Demario Davis, that's huge, because now again those guys can kind of play off each other, and this is what I was talking about. Now, don't be surprised if Demario Davis' job is a lot easier because he got a guy that he can depend on, right? Even if hey, look, all right, man, all I want you to do is focus on getting TFLs. Okay, that's one less thing that Demario Davis has to worry about individually. Now, will he still get some plays in the backfield? Probably will. But for the most part, he's basically the person say, hey, look, I'm going to stay front side and don't let them get upfield. You can basically chase stuff down on the backside and we'll be good to go. And we kind of be the yin and the yang of the defense, right? That's what it is, right? All right. So the Jets, we don't have to talk about them. We already know who they are. The Williams brothers have did what they need to do. CJ Mosley is still holding it down over there. So the Jets, I don't have no issue with them. The Bears, believe it or not, the Bears was playing like a top 10 defense to close out the year last year. It just was their offense. So that's why I put the Bears as one of my surprise teams for the playoffs, because if their defense plays anywhere near close to what they did last year, I just think the offense can't hold them back based off what they got. And now, look, I'm not a Caleb Williams guy. I'm not a big supporter of his game or whatever it may be. I don't know too much about him. But I will tell you, it will be kind of hard to mess it up if you have a top 10, top 5 type of defense. It will be hard, right? Next one will be the Bengals. Again, I may not agree with this, right? But Wilson and Pratt have been doing their thing quietly in certain parts. Now, there are some games, they have some bad games. And look, our linebackers have some bad games, right? They do have some bad games. But with their total body of work, I will say they already complement each other. Right. So I expect them to continue to do what they need to do. Now, I will tell you, if Trey Hendrickson is leaving or if he's traded, this could take them down when it comes down to how well they perform. Because we all know without a pass rush, those linebackers are basically say, hey, look, I got a pass rush and I got to drop in coverage. Oh, yeah, by the way, I can't forget my run fits either. So again, I just think that can cause a little bit of confusion having them trying to stay in and do all three if they don't really have to. Your whole thing is you want to try and make your linebacker job as easy as possible, as systematic as possible, to where, hey, okay, look, that guy may not be the smartest guy, but he can do one or two things, and those one or two things is going to be key for our defense being able to go out and win games we're not supposed to win. All right. The next one it would be the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, people look at this and say, hey, look, that particular the names of these guys. Look, stop looking at the names. You got to look at the defensive coordinators and the defensive coordinators, what they can get out of these particular guys. Hey, what am I going to ask them to do? And okay, look, is it going to be the moment going to be too big for these particular guys? If the moment's not going to be too big for these guys, look, this is a preseason type of ordeal. This may change. I will tell you right now. This may change. It's definitely going to change. I can almost assure you, because again, injuries may happen. We're talking about people that don't get it. People don't turn the corner as fast as they need to turn. So again, I wouldn't get too wrapped up in these particular rankings, but they are what they are at this point. This is PFF. Doesn't mean it came from ESPN. Doesn't mean it came from Fox Sports. Doesn't mean it came from Bleacher Report. It came from PFF. That's what it is. The next one, it will be the Jaguars. Look, the Jaguars, I said amongst the draft the last 3 years, I think collectively the best young linebacker core would probably be the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it's good to see that them finally making some noise in some of the rankings, and they're not basically kind of looked down upon, because they did pick up some good guys, Devin Lloyd, Troy. They picked up some good guys in the draft in the last 3 years, and they already had some good guys already. Foley, I can't say his doggone name, but he's on the graphic. But those guys together collectively play off each other, right? And if those guys play off each other, now we talk, hey, look, collectively as a unit, they're able to go out and just do their job and not have to worry about other person's job or whatever it may be. Now, this next one, a lot of people. Matter of fact, I seen some of the comments on Twitter. A lot of people was already second guessing this, and like, how in the heck does the Patriots have this? The Patriots were basically the Chicago Bears of the AFC. They've had a good defense. The only difference is those guys got injured. A lot of those guys got injured, and then their offense already moved. So that's the thing, that when it comes down to the New England Patriots, that's where the Patriots are. It's just being honest. The next team, Washington Commanders. Again, they're young. They got Bobby Wagner, who's a tackling machine. It's one of those things. Hey, I got Bobby Wagner. I got a defensive-minded coach. I could probably pull one of those young potential guys along the way and be a probably 100-plus tackler type of machine with us. So now we're talking about, hey, we got two forces of nature in the defense. Don't know how that would help them out, because again, I think their secondary kind of iffy, right? But if they could generate pass rush, if they can generate pass rush, then they can turn around and keep their linebacker core intact and have their effect on the game. Again, this may be a solid list for them to be on, right? And that may change their season a little bit. Seattle has a young linebacker core as well. I do think the loss of Bobby Wagner is going to hurt them. But again, if we're talking, just like I said with Washington, if we get that pass rush from those young guys, because they got some young pass rushers, if they get some pass rush from them, now we make everybody else's job a little bit easier, right? And then the last team will be the Minnesota Vikings. Again, you guys probably looking at this list and saying, hey, who are the household names? I don't believe in these guys. Look, I'm being honest with you. You can't do that. You can't overlook a guy, because I can tell you a guy that's not even on either one of these lists, right? Is Zaire Franklin from the Colts. Zaire Franklin from the Colts, he's been just as good as some of these linebackers or most of these linebackers on this list, right? But he's not here. He's not anywhere here on this particular, whether his group or whether his individual efforts, he's nowhere near on this particular list. That's my particular opinion. But if we're looking at it strictly from the numbers, I think Zaire Franklin, again, he's probably in the top 5 when it comes down to his stats per season that he's had since he's been in. Again, he had been in the league for a long time, but the time he's been in, he's been successful. So, and next to the list on the right, is the top linebackers in the NFL. Again, when it comes down to these linebackers, right? I just think y'all got to understand these linebackers are different, right? The linebacker positions are different, whether it be outside linebacker, inside linebacker, right? You can have an outside linebacker, but the outside linebacker particular role is to just go pass rush from the edge or whatever it may be. So that guy's going to have a different type of stat line than a straight inside linebacker like a Fred Warner or a Roquan Smith. So again, I don't agree with this particular list because again, they play different positions, they have different roles. So I would like if they was to turn around and say, hey, look, let's splice it off a little bit more and let's put out best outside linebackers, best inside linebackers. I would like that particular list from PFF or whoever's going to do these type of lists because again, I think you paint the whole picture then because now they can kind of compare it to who they actually play style or their role is just like. Because if you compare a TJ Watt and Roquan Smith, of course, if you're a sack guy, you're going to say, hey, TJ Watt is better than Roquan because he has 20 sacks or whatever he has, right? But if you say, hey, no, complete linebacker aspect, and then now I'm going to say, hey, wait a minute. He calls the defense. He does this. He does that. He drops in the coverage. And, oh, yeah, by the way, he can go sack the quarterback. So now I may want to more complete linebackers. So then I'm going to say Roquan's the better linebacker. So, again, I just think, hey, if we're going to do these type of lists, again, I would hope that at some point they would start to differentiate what type of linebacker they're talking about instead of just putting a blanket at the linebackers. All right. So now this is according to sportsnot.com, these are the top 10 defenses in the NFL. And again, I don't know what their metrics are, right? But if you guys look down these particular ones, I don't disagree with any of them because again, I kind of talked in length a little bit about what I felt these guys were able to achieve. Now, again, we're talking injuries, we're talking people don't turn the corner. I like this particular list. This particular does not have any glaring holes just looking at it off rip. Now you can argue who should be one, who should be two, who should be three, who should be seven, who's too high, who's too low. You can make an argument for all of that, right? But at the end of the day, the top 10 is your top 10, right? I believe in that wholeheartedly. And believing in that wholeheartedly, I think it's one particularly right. So give you a high five or maybe a slap on the back for constructing a list as complete as this, because I think they pretty spot on with this particular type of list. All right. So let me see. I have any comments. Cool. For 48 minutes. And basically, look, if you guys got any kind of questions or anything like that, please feel free from wherever you're watching. Drop me a comment, drop me a like, drop me a share. If you want to tell me again, hey, the video sucked or I couldn't hear you, it was too low. I'm cool with any of that. I need the constructive criticism. So as I do these type of videos, we can basically make sure that, hey, look, we come here, we have a good time, and we can basically get some stuff out in the airway a little bit different than, hey, look, I need you to go buy this, or I need you to go do that. Look, I'm not asking you to buy anything. I'm not asking you to purchase some kind of plan or whatever it may be. All I want is basically we can sit down, we can talk about the game of football and talk about our Ravens. And then even if you're not a Ravens fan, you want to talk about your team, feel free. Because again, I'm going to talk with objectivity as much as I can as I do my particular videos. And if you guys want to give me a shout out or somewhere or whatever it may be, I'm cool with that. Once again, thank you guys for all the support, and looking forward to the next one. The next video is going to probably be next weekend. I'll probably do these things every week, depending on what kind of questions and stuff I get throughout the week about the video, and then we'll go from there. So based off the stuff that we talked about, look, again, I think Derrick Henry's going to have a successful season with the Ravens. I think he's going to go over 2,000 yards? No. Again, I'm not one of those type of fans to say, hey, look, this guy's going to turn back the hands of time and he's going to have his best season ever, yada, 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 whatever it may be. I do think he's going to be effective based off the personnel, based off the rankings of the O-line and where we finish. I think Derrick Henry is going to be a really, really good piece to our particular season, and he's going to kind of help determine how far the Ravens can go and so forth. And then the list again. As we closer and closer to the season, more and more lists are going to come out. The offensive line rankings are going to change. A lot of these things are going to change. Again, don't take that stuff as gospel right then and there. You got to kind of want to lean forward in your foxhole and do a little bit of research on your own, and you'll kind of see, hey, look, all right, these guys are going more for ratings instead of rationale or being rational. Again, if they're going for the ratings, that's cool. Hey, look, I want to stir the pot to make some people angry so they can reshare this thing, or they can like it, they can tweet it out and tell me how much of an idiot I am. That's what some people do. But at the end of the day, that's not my goal. My goal is basically, look, I want to talk about football, about the NFL, about certain teams, about certain things that come out and so forth. And basically, look, be a break from ESPN, Fox Sports, because we all know, hey, look, again, those guys work for ratings and they're trying to get their money on. That's what they do. My job is I'm not that. I want to talk to the people about things that go on and so forth and so on, and make this season probably one of the better seasons that we possibly had. So if you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to kind of wait for like 2 minutes. If you guys got any questions that you want to ask, I can kind of answer your questions, and then we're going to go because I got to see my family and I got some things. All right, no comments. Cool. All right, so again, in close. Talk to hey, look at this guy. This was the video. He was uninformed. He didn't know anything about this. I'm cool with it. However you want to do it. My whole thing is to basically just bring you a little bit more of the Ravens talk, NFL talk, even some other sports. I'll probably try to do some other sports. So hey, again, give you guys kind of a break from the typical. Hey, look, I'm going to talk about the Lakers and the Cowboys because they're the hot ticket items, regardless what kind of season they have. So. All right. So if you guys don't have any questions, I appreciate you guys again. Thank you. And you guys have a great one. Peace.